The long Easter weekend continues with the second of three Leafs games. Tonight in Calgary, didn't start till 9, so by the third period I was kind of like, oh, getting the head bobs, right? But I struggled through. I may have missed minutes at a time here and there when I was old manning out and falling asleep, but it was an interesting game. The Leafs scored just about 58, just less than a minute, 58 seconds in. Matthews did a good job to pin the puck along the boards and keep it in the zone along the right wing in the Calgary zone, and then he fished the puck free from whoever he was battling against, and then sent it cross ice to Riley, who was creeping in from the left point, and then Riley just went roof daddy with it right over the glove of Riddick, top cheese, perfectly placed shot right inside the post and crossbar, and that was 1-0, and it was like, ooh, good start. Leafs then went on a roll for quite a time, and owned the first half of the first period, and a bit more maybe. And at one point the shots were like 11-3 or 12-4. They really seemed to be taking it to the Flames. But then Calgary scored just a little shy of 12 minutes into the first. And Hutchinson got the start. They're resting Campbell. Campbell's going to get tomorrow night's game because it is a back-to-back. It was nothing Hutch could have done. Oh my God, see, I'm going right to bed after this. Nothing Hutch could have done about this one. It was a point shot from Giordano, I think it was, and it hit a stick about 6-7 feet in front of Hutch and just went straight roof bar down sort of thing, right? So change of direction right in front of him on a hard shot. So nothing you can do there. That's just one that you suck up and move on from. And then, but unfortunately, Calgary at that point, a little way after they took the period over, and got another one before the end of the period. This one was kind of a surprise chance. I can't remember if it came off of a turnover or something like that, but an opportunity quickly arose, and then somebody shoveled it over to Mangiapane, I think it was, who was in the slot between the hash marks, and he just kind of grabbed the puck, put it down, and then shot, and it was top shelf over Hutchinson's blocker. So the puck looked like it was kind of a flutter ball, or it was shot a little slower than it should have been, so I don't know if that fooled him a bit. But at that point, it's like anytime Hutch gets scored on and the goal is kind of questionable, you know that there's fans everywhere going, oh God, panicking, right? But fortunately he was able to stabilize after that, and as the second started, though, Calgary's continuation from that momentum they built in the back half of the first continued on for a while, and there was quite a stretch from that back half of the first period and in through the first half of the second where the Leafs didn't have a shot on net for quite a while. But fortunately, as the second rolled on, and it reached the back half of the second, they finally got things going again. They kind of went to sleep for a bit, and Galchenyuk actually scored his first as a Leaf, which was nice to see, and it was kind of a cool play. It was I believe it was Nylander came in over the blue line on the left side and stopped up really quickly, and dropped it to Riley, who was just crossing the blue line, and then Riley, instead of carrying it in, he then back passed it to Nylander at the point, and then Tavares was off to Riddick's left, and Nylander was trying to feed him kind of a slap pass almost, and Tavares couldn't really handle it, so he just kind of put a light little touch pass on it and just went cross crease to Galchenyuk, who then just had to scoop it in. And so that's good, because I think Galchenyuk's been really good for the Leafs. People are like, I hear different opinions on him. Like me and my dad both think he's doing a really good job, but some of the sportscasters say, well, this is kind of the end of his audition. He's not getting a lot of points. This could be it for him. And I think they said he's got a goal and 3 assists in 8 games with the Leafs now. So he's scoring a point every other game. That's pretty good for a guy who's kind of a reclamation project and who is pretty new to the lineup, right? But the thing I really like about him is that he always puts in the effort. He's one of those guys who's always skating, always out there flying around, he's always trying his hardest. So for me, that's the main thing, because you get these guys that are fucking loafers, and it's like, I don't care how much skill you have, if you're not going to try, get the hell off, like, so I appreciate that aspect of his game, and he's obviously got some skill. He scored 30 something goals for Montreal in his first season or whatever, right? So I think they should just keep this going, and I think he's been good for them. So, but anyways, that's a little off topic. So we headed to the third period tied at 2, and considering the Leafs kind of had a hot start and then kind of went to sleep for a good portion of that and got down 2-1. They were kind of fortunate to be able to bring it back to 2-2 and head into the third period, where the game was kind of up for grabs. And in the third, they kind of took back over. They really got going again. Overall, the play was pretty even, but Toronto's, I think, superior firepower, better goaltending, even though people don't believe in the Hutch. He really held them in it during that stretch where they kind of fell asleep in the first and second, and their better defense too. I think Toronto's just an overall much deeper team, and it showed in the third period, and they were able to put it away. I think the first goal came 6-7 minutes in. It was Tavares. It was Tavares kind of in the neutral zone, fed Nylander a pass as he was flying through the neutral zone. He went in over the blue line, went to the net, got a shot, rebound came out, and Tavares, after passing it to Nylander, of course, followed it up, went straight to the net, and then a rebound was lying there for him. He shot it on net. Riddick made the save, but then it came out, hit the Calgary defenseman's shin pad or skate or something, and then went into the net. Those are the kinds of bounces the Leafs weren't getting when they were on that losing streak for a while, right? Now they're kind of getting them again. So that was nice to see. That put them up 3-2. And then later on, I think 9 something minutes in, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Matthews, who didn't have a shot for most of the game, which he was in risk of, I guess, that being his first game the whole season without at least registering a shot. So he was able to finally get one and get a goal on it. So and it was a pretty cool play, because he was the one that kind of started it all off. Kachuk, the idiot, was trying to clear the puck along the left side boards right at the blue line. Matthews was able to kind of stand him up, keep it in, get it to Hyman a little further down the boards along the half wall there, and he was battling away with it, won the puck battle, then got it low into the left corner from Marner, and then after Matthews had kind of won that battle with Kachuk, he went straight to the net, and Marner kind of fed him out a little pass right into the crease, and bing bang, there's your goal. So that was good. So, and that's the way it would end. The Flames pulled their goalie with, I think, a significant amount of time left. I was dozing at that point, or half dozing, right? So, but I think they had him out for quite a while, and the Leafs were able to handle everything. So, went put another 2 points on the totals there, and with a 4-2 victory. So it was nice to see Hutch get a win, and because he did have that good really stretch at the start of the season when he was called on, and got the shutout against Edmonton and some other solid performances. Then he lost 3 in a row where he wasn't necessarily to blame for a couple of them. He did have the one really bad game, I think, against Winnipeg, maybe, where he gave up a couple early on. But overall, he's been really good, I think, especially considering where he was at the start of last season when he was a Leaf before he moved on and then came back. So that was really good to see Hutch get the win and rebound after those first 2 early goals and have a really good performance. The Leafs D, I don't think there's been any changes to their D core for quite a few games, and they all looked really good. Simmons is, after finally getting back into the lineup a number of games ago, they were commenting on that tonight. He's finally starting to look more like himself, getting lots of shots and stuff like that. And I noticed that too tonight. He seemed to have a little more jump, getting a little more chances. He's funny because he's got a lot of skill, but he doesn't look like it. He's a little, rough around the edges maybe. Like, he's not maybe that smooth, I guess. So sometimes you're thinking, oh, he's just going to make this easy play or whatever. And then he shows really great patience with the puck and holds on to it for a bit more, and then makes a really good pass, and you're like, ooh, Wayner, right? Like, because you think of him as more of a straightforward, rough and tumble, big hits, fights, garbage kind of goals, right? But he's actually got some good skill, but you don't expect it from him, right? So I really enjoy watching him and how he handles himself. So I thought he had a pretty good game. Galchenyuk obviously getting the goal, that was big for him. Um, they were talking like the Marner and Matthews line was kind of quiet tonight when they've been really the driving force for quite a while. They had kind of a quiet night up until they got that goal, that insurance goal at the end of the game. Um, and the Tavares, Nylander, Galchenyuk line was kind of hot and cold. So this was a game where no one line or one player really stood out as kind of dominating all night long or having a really good game all night long. They would all kind of go in and out, right? They'd have a handful of kind of nondescript, nothing really happened kind of shifts, and then they'd have a couple good ones, right? And something would happen. So it really was kind of um, a team win, right? Like everybody contributed, but it was a battle the whole way, right? Like it wasn't pretty and stuff, but in the end they got it done. So and it's they're talking about how many minutes Muzzin and Hall are logging on the back end. So that's it's really quite a difference. I find after the way Babcock handled this team to the way Keefe is now. Babcock was so inflexible with his lines, and Matthews and Marner for some reason never could play together. I don't fucking get that one. Like imagine if Chicago had never put Taves and Kane together. I know they don't play together regularly when Taves is in the lineup, but they would come together on power plays, or they'd put them together every once in a while when they need a spark or whatever, right? Like it wasn't not an option, right? But Babs was so inflexible with that. And then guys like Justin Hall, who is now one of their minute munchers, um, Babs would never play him. He'd only play him if like there was no other choice, right? And the thing he did with Marner, making him kind of narc on the guys by ranking them by their habits and stuff, like and the way he treated Spezza in his first game as a Leaf. The opening game is in Ottawa or against Ottawa, whatever. And he scratches him, right? Like, give the fucking guy the game and then scratch him the next if you worry about his workload or whatever the hell is your problem with him, right? And just all the shit that went on with him, and how Hutchison was just fed to the wolves with him always being the second game of a back-to-back. Those were his only starts with a struggling team that wasn't listening to their coach anymore. And it's like, yeah, no wonder he gets shellacked every fucking game, right? Like, they're tired, they hate you, and you're giving them the second of like, it just, what a world of difference a coaching change and a year later makes, right? Like, just transformation, right? So and the thing is, like Babs was the one who wanted to preach defense and stuff like that, and everybody's like, well, Sheldon Keefe and Dubas, they're all about the high flying and whatever. This is the best defense the Leafs have been playing in years, right? So not necessarily, right? So I think about that every once in a while, the whole the contrast between the Babs era and now the Keefe era, and just how they paid Babs so much money to be the guy that's going to guide this team. And I mean, he did do some good things, of course, and got them the ball rolling, but obviously he was overall probably not very good for the team with kind of the way he worked things, right, with his inflexibility and his some of his methods, right? I don't like that stuff. Being playing sports all my life, I'm more of a sensitive kind of person, and I don't like being yelled at, by anybody. And I just think about coaches like that who have a doghouse and are always harping on you and bitching at you. If you do something wrong, it's always yelling instead of like, okay, explaining and learning, right? Like, I always liked coaches who were more chill and stuff like that. So like, if I ever was in the NHL and got traded to Columbus and had to play for Torts, I'd be like, yeah, I'm retiring. Fuck this, right? Like, this guy's an asshole. So the Leaf team, and I think especially playing in a market like Toronto, that has so much pressure on it and so much more commitment for the players, outside of the dressing room with all the stuff they're expected to do. The last thing you need is a prick coach, adding to everything else, right? So it's no wonder the Leafs have kind of blossomed and stuck with a game plan and learned and evolved and developed under a guy like Keefe's leadership versus Babs's, right? So just some food for thought there, some stuff I've been thinking about, and my own little 2 cents on stuff. Yeah, but I hate bad coaches. Like, I can't stand Torts. The whole, like, Columbus to me would be like kind of just a meh team, because they're one of the more recent expansion teams. They don't really have a history. Their uniforms are terrible. They're just kind of meh, right? But that simple addition of Torts as a coach makes me hate that team, because he is the kind of coach that I would fucking absolutely never ever want to play for. And it's just like there's never anything good to say out of his mouth, right? Like, it's always negative, negative, negative. He treats his players like shit, and then he treats the press like shit. And I'm okay with treating the press like shit, because the press is a pain in the ass. But sometimes there actually are valid, honest questions, and he just tears them all apart, right? It's entertaining, of course, but good God, what an ass, right? So yeah, so that's just my 2 thoughts, or my 2 cents on coaches and the way they approach different coaches approach teams and leadership and stuff like that. So, but what do I know? I never played anything outside of house leagues, so maybe I'm completely wrong. Most times in life I am completely wrong. So, anyways, that's all for now. I better go to bed, because we got to do this whole thing again tomorrow. And tomorrow the game doesn't start till 9:30 instead of 9. So you may not be seeing a video tomorrow night, and maybe the morning after, but we'll see. Sayonara.